Chapter 4. Into the Night. Sleep had never felt so elusive. Selene lay awake on her narrow cot, staring at the makeshift desk where a hastily sketched map glimmered under the weak light of a single bulb. She'd found it slipped under her door 2 nights earlier, coordinates hastily scrawled across its surface, accompanied by a cryptic note. "The answers you seek are here." As if the ragged tension in her life needed further provocation. Part of her wanted to tear it up and feign ignorance, but the events of the last few days, the accidental illusion at the market, the quiet terror in every sideways glance, and most importantly, the raw power she couldn't deny, gnawed at her. Hiding forever wasn't an option. With a sigh, she swung her legs off the cot. A thin dawn light filtered through the threadbare curtain, mocking her restlessness. She rose before the factory shift horn blared, slipping into her usual drab clothes. Over the last couple of days, she'd avoided Sophia's concerned gaze, offering only terse answers about her just needing space. But that morning, as Selene paused in front of the cracked mirror, her friend appeared at the door unannounced. "Selene?" Sophia's voice was tentative. "You're up early, everything okay?" Selene's pulse skipped. The map. She'd left it out on the desk. She snatched it away, folding it before Sophia could see. "I'm fine," she lied, forcing a half-hearted smile. Sophia's eyes, dark with concern, flicked around the room as if searching for a clue. "I'm worried about you," she said. "You've barely spoken since the market incident." Selene swallowed. She wanted to tell Sophia everything, to share the ominous note, the coordinates, and the swirling dread in her heart. Yet fear stitched her lips shut. "I just need time," she managed. "I promise I'll explain eventually." Sophia opened her mouth to protest, but seemed to sense Selene's resolve. "Okay," she said quietly, stepping aside as Selene gathered her satchel. The unspoken tension coiled between them, leaving a bitter taste in Selene's mouth. That afternoon, Selene slipped away from her shift early. No one noticed her absence. The assembly line churned on, oblivious to missing cogs. She clutched the map, following the coordinates scrawled in ragged handwriting. They led her east, toward the city's outskirts, a place she'd visited only in rumors. Rusting factories loomed like hollow titans over the deserted streets, their once mighty furnaces long cold. The air grew damp with an eerie mist that hugged the ground, obscuring broken concrete and twisted metal. Overhead, a few ancient security drones hovered, leftover relics that occasionally sparked to life. Selene's breath hitched when a drone's flickering red light swept her way. Instinct flared, and she closed her eyes, picturing a ripple in the air around her. "Hide me," she pleaded silently, heart pounding. She opened her eyes and saw, to her shock, a faint blur. Like a mirage, it distorted her shape enough that the drone's light passed over without alarm. Selene let out a shaky breath. I did it again. The relief warred with the knowledge that each new use of her power might draw more attention to her. At last, the map's coordinates landed her in front of a derelict warehouse whose sagging roof threatened collapse. Broken windows let in the feeble daylight, and splashes of graffiti marred the outer walls. Signs of recent activity, scattered footprints, a half-broken lock, hinted that this place, for all its decay, was not entirely abandoned. Selene hesitated. Her heart rattled like a bird's wings trapped in a cage. But backing out now would leave her with more questions and the same gnawing vulnerability. She pushed the warped door open, the rusted hinges squealing in protest. Inside, shadows sprawled across the cavernous space. Dim light shafted through the broken roof, illuminating heaps of scrap metal, rotted crates, and someone standing near the far wall. A young man with close-cropped hair and an alert posture turned as she entered. He wore clothing a step above hers, still practical, but less tattered, and carried himself like a person entirely aware of his surroundings. "Selene?" he asked, voice calm. There was no surprise in his expression, only recognition. Her pulse lurched. How does he know my name? She took a cautious step forward, one hand clenching the map. "I've been waiting," the stranger said, walking closer. He kept his hands visible, an unspoken gesture of peace. "I'm Ethan." Selene found her voice. "Did you leave the map?" she asked, suspicion warring with curiosity. Ethan nodded. "I've been tracking you in a sense, through the dream realm." The words jolted her. "The dream realm? You mean like illusions, like what I do?" A small smile curved his lips. "Yes, though illusions are just the surface. Some of us have talents, abilities to sense and shape dreams. I'm what people call a lucid dreamer. You, Selene, you have a rarer gift." She shivered. The idea of being tracked through dreams felt invasive, yet also explained the strange feeling of being followed. She stepped further into the warehouse. "What do you want from me?" "To warn you," he replied. His tone was calm but underscored by urgency. "And to offer help. I've seen your energy signature in the dream realm. It's strong and unusual. The organization that hunts Dreamweavers will be very interested in you." Selene swallowed. "They're already interested," she muttered, recalling the policeman at the market. "How do I know this isn't a trap?" Ethan studied her for a long moment. "I'll show you," he said, "but words aren't safe. We should speak where they can't overhear us." Before she could question him, Ethan knelt, touching a small metallic disc on the floor. A soft hum resonated, and the environment around them changed. Not physically, but Selene sensed a shift in consciousness, like falling into a gentle sleep, with eyes wide open. The crates and scraps blurred out, replaced by a forest that unfurled under her feet. Radiant sunlight filtered through vibrant green leaves, and a river meandered across the ground, upward, defying gravity like a fluid staircase. She gasped. A dream while awake. She was certain of it. "Shared dreaming," Ethan said, standing beside her in the surreal forest. "This is my safest form of communication. Harder for them to tap into if we keep it controlled." Selene's heart hammered, half in wonder, half in terror. She reached out and touched a nearby tree trunk. The bark was warm under her palm, but it flickered like a projection. Ethan nodded. "Our real bodies are in the warehouse, but our minds are here. This is my creation, a place of calm." When he gestured for her to walk, she followed. Around them the forest glowed with unearthly colors. In the distance, birds of shifting hue darted among the treetops. Awe mingled with an odd sense of déjà vu, reminding her of her own dreams, where she could bend reality with a thought. "Selene," Ethan said quietly, "you're more than just a lucid dreamer. You have a skill called Oneiric Fusion. It's the ability to fuse dreamscapes together, to weave illusions seamlessly between the dream world and reality. Rare and extremely dangerous if the government finds out." Selene halted, her pulse roaring in her ears. "Oneiric Fusion? I don't even know how I'm doing these illusions, let alone what that means." Ethan's gaze was sympathetic. "I know, but there's a reason you can do what others can't. There are more people like us. A network, some call it a resistance. We want to protect dreamers from the government's control." A swirl of questions rushed through her, but she seized on the one that burned the brightest. "How do I stop them from hunting me? I don't want to vanish like all those rumored Dreamweavers." "Training, knowledge, allies." He spread his hands. "I can offer you some of that, but it's your choice. This isn't a safe path. If you join us, you become a target, more than you already are." Thunder rumbled overhead, and suddenly the bright forest dimmed. A dark mist slithered between the trees. Selene's hair stood on end. "What's happening?" Ethan's expression sharpened. "They've found us here, agents or their technology trying to breach this shared dream." He lifted a hand, forming a gesture that rippled the air. The mist receded, but not before Selene glimpsed faint shapes within it, shadowy figures, faceless yet intent. She felt a chill. "We should leave." Ethan nodded. "We will." With a flick of his wrist the forest faded, returning them to the dusty warehouse. In the waking world Selene staggered, heart pounding. Ethan steadied her with a firm grip. "Take this," he said, pressing a small tattered book into her hands. "It has insights on dream manipulation, what the government calls forbidden knowledge. Study it, learn caution, and if you decide to stand against them, we'll find each other again." She looked at the cryptic tome, then at Ethan. "How will I contact you?" A solemn smile crossed his face. "You won't have to. We're linked now by the dream realm. I'll know when you're ready." He turned away. "But watch your back. They'll come." Not long after, Selene slipped out of the warehouse, the tome clutched to her chest. The sky had deepened into twilight, painting the industrial wasteland in bruised purples and oranges. A prickle on the back of her neck told her she wasn't alone. Patrol lights flashed in the distance. Somewhere enforcers roamed. Symbols she didn't recognize, scrawled in bold paint on the walls, hinted at hidden battles. Warnings or invitations. She couldn't be sure. Heart-hammering, she retraced her path, using shadows for cover. No drones caught her this time, though she felt them droning overhead, scanning. At last, she reached her own district, exhausted but somehow more alive than before. Late that night she lay in bed, the tome open on her lap. Strange diagrams, arcane symbols, and half-legible notes filled the pages. Whispers of knowledge that might save her life, or doom her. She fought sleep until it overtook her, dreams blooming with more color and clarity than she'd ever known. In that dream, the shadowy figures from before appeared, close enough for her to see the anger and fear etched in their vaguely human shapes. But instead of recoiling, Selene stood her ground, remembering Ethan's lessons. Their whispers grew louder. The answers lie within. She woke gasping, the tome pressed to her chest as if it had never left her hands. In the pale gloom she resolved to learn what it held. Tomorrow she would return to her job. Tomorrow she would face the city's oppression again. But now she had a fragment of power, and the faintest glimmer of hope.